Welcome to Above Average Agents, where we spill all the tea in real estate and give our take on the market and being better than the average agent. I'm Tiana Morales.
I'm Katie Lucie.
I'm Meghan Stewart Romanelli.
All right, ladies, let's talk about deals and how difficult they are right now in today's market. I am feeling it so much, and I'm sure you guys are too. And I just wanted to talk about some of the ways in which you guys are able to get over some hurdles. Now, we all know some hurdles you just can't get over. Like, we can't control everything. And I think that's one thing that agents have to remember is like, you can only write a good offer, present the offer in a really strong way. And then the other side has to come to the table too. So we're not going to win every single deal. We're not going to get every single house. And sometimes I think people can take that personally if they like don't get the house or whatever. So let's talk about difficult deals. What are you guys seeing out there?
One thing I've always done, even before when they weren't as hard, is like call the selling agent or the listing agent and be like, what does your seller want? So that I know that every single thing that I'm presenting with the information and the capacity I have is already what the seller wants. So that part, 100%. But right now, like even if you're working with a listing agent that doesn't get it, that like isn't on the same page or is kind of not as well versed in real estate as you, because you, there's a lot of agents out there that have deals that I'm like, how do we get this one? It's like coaching them through it. So like be like, okay, hey, like so just so you know, we came up $8,000 to cover the difference from your 2% comp offer to 2.5 or whatever numbers you want to pick. Like, and so I structured that in here so that it ends up being on the net sheet the same because the seller should only care about the net sheet. So like I like throw in words that I know if it was my seller, I would say, hey, they want 2.5, 3%. When you really hate real estate agents, you really wanted to get them down to 1.5. Like, cool. But like this person got their agent or their buyer up. So now the net sheet's still better for you. So let's just focus on the net sheet. So I'll tell the agent, like, coach them a little bit to be like, focus on the net sheet. And that helps because you can't. And I don't know. I believe that most real estate agents and their clients have typically the same kind of mindset about things. That's why they work with each other. So if the listing agent's being a hard ass and pushing back a lot, you have to like go in a little more tactically and be like, hey, I get it. I'm here to help. This is an offer that your client's going to like, and he'll like it more if you say it like this. But I don't say that, but I make it smoother. It works.
Yeah.
That
I
makes
think it
sense.
was so important what you said about calling the listing agent or the other side before the offer's coming. Introduce yourself, tell them it's coming, and find out what that seller wants. Because even if your offer's a low ball or something doesn't line up, you can effectively communicate the differences as opposed to just here's a low ball with some random terms. Respond, it's not as well received. So even though you know the seller's firm and they want a 22-day closing and this, that, and the other, when you present your offer, you can say, hey, I know this isn't the price you want, but here are the comps. This is why this number is what it is. Here's the closing date we think is fair because it's in an HOA and we can't meet those terms. And really defend your position so that it doesn't just look like a low ball. You're not just shooting, throwing random crap at them. And then this is a Tiana quote, but let the seller decide. I think one thing that's making deals so hard right now is agents are emotionally charged. There's fewer deals. So they price a listing and it doesn't sell and they're offended. They're taking it to heart and they're not going to their seller to let them decide because or buyer, if your buyer wants to submit a low ball, you have to do that and like let them get burnt a couple times before they realize the market's not that low or not an '09.
Yeah.
In either way, like let the client feel the hurt. And I think a lot of times as a listing agent, when you get a low ball, people are offended and you can't be. It's the market, it's life, and it's your seller's choice. You have
Yeah.
no idea. I mean, I've presented low offers. My seller's like, great, sign me up.
Yeah.
Like you can't speak for them. And there's other times when they're like, oh my gosh, I'm only coming down $1. And okay, then you present that back. Like, you have to just play ball. So
Right.
that's a
It
lot of
is
what
not our properties that we're selling. And I tell the listing agents all the time because I'll say something or present something and then they'll call me and start negotiating with me. And I don't even negotiate back on the phone because it's not, there's no purpose. It's like, did you even present what we gave you to your client? Let me know what your client says. Then we can negotiate because the conversation on the phone of them negotiating before they present is useless. It's like a waste of breath because it doesn't matter.
right.
Unless they're asking specific questions like how come your client is whatever only putting down 5%, or how come that, like, those are questions about the buyer and the stability of the buyer. But yeah, you have to let the client decide. But like, I had a deal where I had a buyer come in and lowball, and I agree it was a lowball, but um that was, I don't know, 60 days ago now, maybe 45, and that property is still in the market. That agent got so offended, called me a few names, got so offended, and then just said, no, absolutely not. So it's like, what's worse for the seller? Like, did you even ask them to counter? I don't think he did. Based on his egotistical reaction, I don't think that he even told the seller what to do. He just said, we're not accepting this. You shouldn't accept this. This is crazy. And didn't even counter, which I think is silly.
Yeah.
I was at a kid's birthday party over the weekend, and this mom that I know was like, yeah, she's like, if we're still on the market, and she has a friend, like, it's fine agent, but she's like, yeah, the first showing, we got an offer, and she was fine with it, but she didn't say, the agent was like, don't take this. This is under asking. This house is great, and it's a great house. They're like, this house is great. We're going to sell it. It's the first weekend. It's the very first showing, and it's been months now. And she's like, I wish I just took that offer. And like, she was like, you know what I mean? And I'm like, oh, that agent was speaking for her, and she should have shut up and saw what. And then also also one of Lori's buyers was asking her yesterday, like, hey, could we get this house for 690? And it was like listed at like 720. And it was in Wellington. I'm like, well, Wellington is like 95% listed sales price ratio. And I didn't know that before because I work mostly in Jupiter. I looked it up. It took me 30 seconds. And I did the math. I was like, yeah, that's probably fair. I'm like, go walk it, see if it's like really presented well and really nice. But I'm like, people, I don't know. People are going to pay what they want, and you have to know your market stats, and especially if you're going to be advising people what to do, you should know what you're talking.
Yeah. And to Katie's point, I learned that lesson myself as a listing agent. I got offended once when I got what I considered a low ball very early, and the home sat, and we kicked ourselves, and it ended up selling for quite a bit less than that first offer. And that's why, to Tiana's point, you present it. You don't bully your client and say, oh, we can do better. Like, then when you're wrong, it really sucks. Like, you give it to that person. They know what the cost of moving means to them. So if they'd rather take a little bit less than what they were hoping for to have peace of mind, we got to do that.
Yeah.
And I think,
it's a lot to show your house. If you have kids or you have dogs, you have to get them out. You have to put them in the car. It's a pain in the butt. You know what I
yeah,
mean? Sometimes people are like,
absolutely.
oh yeah, that's worth $8,000 to be over right now. Done.
Yep. And to the buyer side, we've submitted an offer this week. It was more than 10% under asking or under list price, which is a pretty big discount for the area. It really should have been like closer to 5. But we knew the comps. We were like, you're priced really high. And the agent, to Tiana's point, oh my gosh, this is ridiculous. I can't even believe that. Present the offer, please. Let me know how they respond. They signed it. They didn't even counter.
That's
They
amazing.
signed it.
Oh my God.
And we got the appraisal, and it appraised at contract price. So, I mean, she just like took it to heart that she came up with this list price and this whole thing. And they didn't even bat an eyelash. They wanted,
That
like,
is
to Katie's point,
literally
they
what
have,
I'm saying.
they have a baby. They want to move. It's been on the market 100 days. We're done. Let's go.
Right. A buyer wants to buy it. Great.
Yep. A
Wow.
qualified buyer with, an agent who's going to close the deal.
Good for them.
Good
But
job.
yeah, exactly. It's like you gotta even just like countering, finding a middle ground. So I don't know, I'm making it up. Like, say a house is listed for $1 million and your buyer offers 800. Well, maybe the seller is willing to take 9, like, instead of 1 million. You just never know. So there is a balance in what the market stats are and what's normal, how long something's been on the market. So sometimes buyers don't listen and they want to do what they want to do. But
I think that's a great point, Tiana. We're talking about difficult deals. Another thing that comes up right now is if you submit low, sometimes the response is, oh, they're not responding. Well, I kind of disagree with that. I think a better response as an agent and as a client is to say, hey, we're really firm and we think our evaluation's fair. How about we come off $5,000, $1,000? Like, don't end the conversation, because
Yeah.
when you just say we're not countering, like it really, it's difficult to hear, and you don't know that buyer's throwing out a number to see your card. And if you're firm, say we'll budget tiny, but we're not coming down 100, and come off 5, and then it's like, oh, okay, that seller's firm, but they want to sell, and you can put a deal together. Whereas when you just say no, everyone's like, oh, okay, why are you listed? Like, it
Right.
doesn't help anyone.
Right. I literally, and I've had to coach sellers too, where it's like, no, no, don't just say, forget it. Don't, like, I literally this year had a seller get an offer 10,000 less than asking price. And she's like, I won't take less than, it was like half this. So she came up 5. And she's like, I'm not gonna take less than this. And they're probably not going to do that. So you shouldn't even bother. And I was like, no, let's bother. This is
Yeah.
the first offer. It's been 80 days. Let's bother. I absolutely recommend countering. And what happened? The buyers accepted her counter.
Right.
They came
Awesome.
back, they tried to negotiate during inspection. We held firm. They still moved forward. What happened? It appraised. Like, all the things fell into place, but you have to have the conversation. You have to say your side. And you never know what the other side is thinking. So you can't just assume.
Absolutely.
Negotiation 101.
Yeah. And
But
that's what we do. That's what we're here to do. So I think, to your point, coaching a seller is important. Give your 2 cents. Don't let them say, oh, we're not countering. Like,
yeah, I mean,
oh,
most of our clients are not buying and selling, 30 to 50 houses a year, right? So they don't see what's going on. They only have their own frame of reference, either what's from they're hearing from the news, from their friends, or what they've experienced in the past. And it doesn't always work the same way.
mhm.
So, negotiating with our sellers, negotiating with our buyers, the whole thing. So, trying to get people what they want and trying to work with the other side that may not understand.
And agents are your friends.
Yeah.
Like,
Are they?
don't beat. I mean,
No,
you can negotiate against the other agent. Of course, we want
yeah.
whoever we're representing to get the better deal, but you're not fighting that agent.
Mhm.
When you're going to bat for your client for
Sometimes.
a $5,000 inspection credit, it's not, oh, I'm a better negotiator than you. I'm getting my client this and you suck. Like, no, you're working with them to close the deal and make everybody happy. Like, I just hate
Right.
when
The
when we're
egos.
fighting with each other, because we all want the same outcome. The seller wants to sell, the buyer wants to buy, and we are the peacemakers. That's part of our job title, is like, be the immediate intermediary and keep it moving and keep it calm. And so, like, don't fight against the other side. Like,
Right.
I have I have a deal right now. I'm the listing agent, and it's a first time seller, uh, like a small condo, and it's an investor buying it. So it's like bipolar opposite clients. And the only reason why this deal is together is because the other agent is awesome, and like he knows that he's coming in like low, asking for stuff, being like totally far apart from where my first time home seller is. And me and the agent we kept it together, and it's only because, like, okay, like he gets it, his client is going to offend this one. I get that my client doesn't understand this guy's objective, and it just works. So it's 100%. You got to make deals, and you got to work with the other person to get that, or you're doing a lot more work.
I have I'm representing that's awful, I shouldn't say that. It's a buyer that really wants things her way. And so the way I present that to the other agent is, hey, I'm really sorry. I know we're asking for a lot here, but do you think you could please? And like, when you're explaining it that way and asking, and being kind and being aware of what the sellers might be going through and what they're giving up to allow us to do, it's much better received, and it goes a lot smoother. Like, it's just,
Yeah, it definitely goes a lot smoother. But what do you say about the agents who don't respond at all to like negotiation repairs or
Oof.
like anything you're looking for. They just ignore you and
It's like you're a pain in
or
the ass to work.
they hold firm, right? They're like, no, no.
Then you have to let your
So,
buyer decide, just like we let our sellers decide. We'd say, listen, we wrote it, we told them, we did everything. They're not responding. This is a tactic. It's infuriating, but it's effective. So you guys tell me what you want to do. Because that's the truth.
Yeah. It's infuriating. It's very frustrating, but yeah.
yeah.
How do you handle that, Tiana?
I bitch and moan for a few minutes, curse their name in my head, and then, like Katie said, it's like you just got to let your buyer decide because we cannot control everything. Like, not everything is in our control. We can't control the other side, how they respond, what they respond to, or not. And all we can do is put our best foot forward each time. And then the person who's buying or selling, like, has to decide what they want to do or how they want to move forward.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Well, if you are having hard deals, let us know, but it was good to chat this through for sure.
Thanks for tuning in. Leave your favorite takeaway in the comments below.
Yeah, for sure. Leave your best deal making tips below. We want to talk about them on the next show.